Hello, everybody, and welcome in to episode 81 of the Dorton and Doetkott Debate podcast. I am Lucas Dorton. Nick is the hair's growing out. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
certainly love if you cut it, but that's okay. That's okay. Got to get the cornrows
Hey,
ready for baseball
I
season.
I got the hat covering it today.
Got that. Keeping it
But
maintained. Keeping it
gotta
maintained.
rep my Twin Cities gear.
Yeah, there you go. Matching. I think that's the most matching I've ever seen you in your life, besides wearing a
Yeah,
baseball uniform.
yeah. I'm learning.
Love it.
One day at a time. One day at a time. Uh, and folks, joining us today, we have from the Blue Earth Pirates, Brandyn Olsen. Brandyn, thank you for joining. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking some ball with you guys, especially
Absolutely.
Townball.
Especially Townball. It's a great thing that I got introduced to very late in my life, but I'm glad I got introduced to it, and it's been amazing. So I'm excited to chat with you a little bit about it. So starting off, the question I like to ask everyone to get to kind of know their baseball love background and kind of the things that are important to them. But who is your all-time favorite Major League Baseball player?
All time. That's actually kind of easy for me. Former, or I guess, Hall of Fame twin, Johan Santana.
Okay.
I
Johan,
Okay.
was that
love me some.
changeup. I love that changeup. I remember there was a game, I think it was against the White Sox, him versus Freddie Garcia. Santana went 8, Freddie went 9, 1-0 game. Nathan comes in to close it out. And
Nice.
I just loved watching him work. And
Yeah.
now he's added to MLB The Show. So
There you
His
go.
had to get it
his
just for that.
circle changeup was filthy.
I know there's probably no better changeup in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Agree.
Yeah, it's a fun guy to watch.
So do you have a favorite I know he's your favorite like ever. Do you have a favorite like non-twin too? Like someone that you were really or like maybe a few people you just really appreciated watching with what they brought to the game?
Yeah, back in the day, there's kind of two lineups that I kind of fell in love with. It was the Mets and the Red Sox in kind of the mid 2000s.
Okay.
The Red Sox, Manny and Poppy. How do you not love watching those two back to
Yeah.
back?
Yeah.
And you had in Pedroia, it was just a dog and
Hmm.
Ellsbury and some fun teams there. And then the Mets with David Wright, Jose Reyes, Carlos Beltran, guys like that. Pedro
Delgado.
went there for a year. Then Johan went there and was like big fan here. So those are
Yeah.
kind of two other lineups that I liked watching. There wasn't really a specific guy that really stood out. It was just kind of those guys in that lineup and just fun guys to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Once the Mets got Johan, they became kind of like my second team. I
Really?
really enjoyed that team too. Jose Reyes used to be my favorite player. So
Oh yeah, I think guy was fast, fun to
yeah,
watch. Yeah, him
yeah.
him and Wright on that side of the infield, just
Hmm.
it's a
Yeah, my
fun
thoughts
punch.
on Jose Reyes are not as great. When we traded Troy Tulowitzki to the Toronto Blue
Yeah,
Jays at the end of his
yeah,
career, we
sure.
got like Jeff Hoffman and Jose Reyes, and then Reyes played all of 2 weeks and got like a
Yeah,
domestic abuse put on him, and then it was suspended for the
yeah,
rest of the year. So
that's right.
I never got much
Forgot
of
about
Jose
that.
Reyes.
Colorado, where people's careers go to die.
Yep, that is the
Yeah,
unfortunate truth.
uh, hey, not Todd Helton.
Not the Todd father, Hall of Fame, baby,
Yeah,
Hall of
yeah.
Fame.
They
Good to see
they got a
that. Good
couple
for him.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, him. Larry Walker, another good guy to fun to watch.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
he had a couple guys in there. I mean, just current day is a little rough,
Galarraga.
but
Right. We've had solid players throughout our history, but
yeah,
Hitters.
yeah.
hitters. Yeah, hitters.
Who wants to
Pitchers
go
was
there and pitch?
right. Like
I
Ubaldo
couldn't tell you
Jimenez
that
was a
I couldn't tell
baller.
you the best all time Rockies pitcher. It's not very good, I can tell you that.
Yeah, Jimenez had like a good first half of 2010. And then
Yeah.
Jorge De La Rosa, I think, is our all-time leader in wins with like
Wow.
87 or something.
Jeff
Oof.
Francis was all right.
Yep, Francis, we rode him to the World Series in '07. He was a stud.
Yeah, I forgot about that little run.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
wasn't a bad little team.
Well, we
And then
won like
Manny and Ortiz and Pedroia,
Yeah.
those boys swept them.
Yeah, welcome to it.
the pennant right above us there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the best runs ever. Rockies won 22 of their last 23 games to get to the World Series. So it was a pretty insane run.
Lucas, you know Matt Holliday didn't touch home, right?
Yeah, he did. He did touch home. He did touch home. Sorry about it.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
Yeah, well, it does because I don't have to hang on my hat for Rockies history, so I have to roll. Anyways, we're going to talk about positive stuff, not the disappointing Colorado Rockies. So we'll move on from that. Move on, talk about some town ball, which is a little more exciting. So Brandon, so Blue Earth Pirates, is that the team that you've always found yourself with? Have you ever been anywhere else before? Or I guess tell me about your playing history with Blue Earth.
So yeah, I've always been with Blue Earth. I joined in 2012, but I go back even farther. My dad was on the team. The earliest I remember was like 2001, which was the first year they made it to state. It used to be the Merchants in like the late 90s, and they switched to the Pirates. I don't remember as much of that, but 2001 is kind of when I first came around it. I was kind of a bat boy, but from what I've been told, I spent more time with like I would bring my tractors to the game and play in the sand with those. So I wasn't a very good bat boy, but I took the title of it. Um, so the first real memory and kind of picture I have is at the state tournament. I think it was in Red Wing, or maybe that was 2003. But I have a picture in a Yankees jersey, like a youth one, just only blue jersey I had, no name on the back, just and I was just kind of the bat boy and got to go to the state tournament there for a couple of years. And my dad's last year's the 2003, but I mean, kind of a funny story. He had a scoreless inning streaks pitching at the end of that year. So going into 2004, and it wasn't like a huge streak, but nonetheless, just one kind of want to keep it going. So then the next year, there's the main core of the Pirates is all like college age at this time, 20 to 23. So a lot of them are still at school. So my dad and a couple other the veterans who are kind of hanging it up for these guys now because they had a really good group.
Mhm.
So he came back, started the first game of 2004. Streak ended up ending in that game. Got the win. He hung it up after that game was
Nice.
over. 2004, the Pirates go on to win the state championship.
Oh, no.
So so we didn't go to many games after that because my parents had four kids. I'm the oldest, so it just kind of got busy. That's why he kind of had to stop. So it's like you
Oh,
just hung on for one more year, man. Like,
oh no. Well, he played a game, so does he still get a
yeah,
ring? He was
you
on
get
the
you get
state team.
yep, it counts. Just
He counts.
had to miss out on all the fun,
Oh,
which
man.
it is what it is. But yeah, I joined in 2012. Um, as part of they were in a pretty long stretch of state tournament appearances. Made it in 2001, missed 2002, and then 2003 up through 2017, made it every year, 16
Wow.
straight. So I kind of hopped in the middle of that, which I joined, and it was kind of like, we're going to the state tournament just every year, and I didn't
That's what
realize
we do.
how fortunate I that was. Like I just kind of came into the middle of this kind of a group that some of the best players I've ever seen and best teams I've ever like been around. It was wild, but that's when I
And
started and been going ever since. And then now as I'm managing now, this is will be my third year trying to manage this group and see how long it keeps going.
I am proud to say that state tournament streak ended with a loss to the Arlington A's.
Yes, it did. Yeah, that turn or that playoff run was kind of weird. So our pitcher, I'm sure you maybe remember this, Garrett Anderson,
Garrett Anderson. Yeah,
how tough he was.
we had one hit.
Yep. I think it was in the top of the ninth, I believe. Yeah,
Uh,
so
I don't remember what your name, but Nathan Hankey got a double. We bunted him
yeah,
to third, and we bunted
then
him home.
bunted him
I
in.
think
Yep.
I think Anderson threw 9 innings,
Yep.
had 17 strikeouts. I was the only one in the lineup not to strike out. I was 0 for 3 though, and I batted ninth, and we won 1-0.
Yeah, and what's even crazier about that, our first round game, I'm pretty sure this is the year we lost to Wells to start it. I think it was 1-0. He pitched that game too, and it was very similar. I think he gave up 2 or 3 hits. So in that playoff run, he pitched 2 games, 18 innings. It was like 35 strikeouts,
Holy cow.
1 or 2 earned run, and it was 0-2.
Man, he's getting that Sonny
yeah.
Gray run support.
Yeah,
Just
Jacob
brutal.
DeGrom.
Yeah, right.
Hey, we still could have won that game still. I got to give a little shout out to my guy Hunter here. So bottom 9, we get a runner on third, 2 outs. Guy pops up to third baseman.
This guy.
And who was the third baseman in that game, Brandon? You remember what he looked like?
Some Nick Duckett kid.
Irrelevant, I guess. We'll say tough play. Ball fall. Okay, it was straight up. Ball falls in the infield, so we're kind of like looking around. Guys, I think I was coaching first at the time. Let's go, tie game. We all look over. There's little Hunter. So Hunter, if you're tuning in here, 2 outs. Yearly reminder, we run. Never know.
I cannot tell you how relieved I was. There was 2 outs. We're 1 out away. And immediately, this just a towering pop-up. I knew it was my ball immediately, but I waited and waited to call it. I'm like, please, somebody else call this thing. But I'm like, well, I guess I got to go get it. And I just I didn't even get under it. I reached my glove out, hit the end of my glove, and just fell down. And I'm like, oh my God, did I really just do that? And then I look over to my right, and the guy's still at third. I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God we got another shot. And then I think Ben Brinkman struck the next kid out on 3 pitches.
Yeah.
So I got very lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I remind him every year, humble him a little bit. Gets turned into last year he had a heck of a summer, so it's a good way to bring him back to reality and just kind of a little reminder.
Yeah, don't get too high up here. Don't get too high.
Yeah, I'll let him know that every single year, and he knows it. It's a little friendly reminder.
What a good manager does. What a good manager does.
Right.
Yeah.
Keeping them humble.
Yeah.
Keeping them humble.
Learning experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, that was the end of 16 straight for us. Couple 1-0 losses. Pretty sure
That's a tough way. That's a tough way to end it.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Had to come to an end sometime, I guess.
Yeah, it was a hell of a run.
Yeah. Like I said, I just had no idea how special that whole group and that run was, and then this year making it back there was put that much more meaning to it after not being able to go, and you've been there basically the first half of your career, and just meant a lot more this year, and pretty cool.
So how many so before this last year, and then 2016 was the last one, did you guys have any in between there or no?
2017 was the last one, but no, we were a couple games, a game or two short a couple times, but that wasn't the only bad game we've ended our season on. I think it was 2020. We were playing Morristown in an elimination game. Bottom 8, we're up 13-4.
Oh my Lord.
Could not quite 10 run them. It was, I don't know if we got out at home or we just didn't get that last hit. So go to top of 9 and things kind of started to fall apart.
No way.
Eventually, they had scored, I can't remember what it was, but they had bases loaded. The go-ahead run was up to bat. Garrett started that game too. So he comes back in with the bases loaded. I want to say there was 2 outs. Second pitch, guy hits a go-ahead grand slam. They put up a 10 spot, top 9. Take the lead.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So then, and we didn't score, so we lost on that.
Wow.
Oh.
We've had some tough elimination games.
Yeah, like I said, this last year we basically lost in a steal at home. So that was tough.
Was that
we sewer.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was like the top of the 7th or 8th, but that's how I think it was 2-1, and that's how the go-ahead run scored was a steal.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, Cole Pengilly.
Yeah.
Walk-off grand slam, though, to end the season.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're the home team, and
okay.
After that, the vibes weren't as good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose after allowing a 10 spot on the top of the ninth, that's hard to recover from.
Yeah, that doesn't happen every day.
Mm.
That's fun.
So then how many people were still around from the 2017 team, the last year you made it, to then this year, 2023, where you made it back? Was there a lot of turnover, newer guys? What did that look like?
It's kind of a lot of both, actually.
Yeah.
So, and there's a couple of them still on the team, two of them that were part of like the 2001, 2003 state
Oh
appearances
wow.
that were a part of every single run.
Okay.
And they're still on the team. But just from 2017, there's still a pretty good handful of guys who made it then, but then we also have a lot of newer guys that have kind of recently joined, and a lot joined like 2018, and then this past last year and into this year we'll have quite a few more. And so it's kind of good to see like some of them that have been to how many state tournaments kind
Hmm.
of get to have that feeling of going back, and then all these new guys like getting the first time, like kind of cool and fun to see that kind of mixed.
You do, and I'm sure that probably makes your job a little bit easier in the realm of like,
Mhm.
okay, you don't necessarily have to like beat a dead horse to the young guys of like, hey, like
Right.
this is what we were and this is what we can do. Like you have all these guys that have been part of a lot of it. And so you can kind of probably just leave a lot of that up to them. You don't really have to do a whole lot of that, which I'm sure is nice.
Yeah, right. It kind of goes both ways actually. Like the older guys have that kind of, they know how to win. They're
Hmm.
Hmm.
very good at that, and they're some of the smartest players I've ever played with. I mean, I can't tell you how I've learned more being on the Pirates, especially my first 2 years, than any other time in my baseball career.
Sure.
But then it goes kind of the same way where those young guys kind of bring back the youth out in some of the older
Yep.
guys and kind of like get that little like giddy up in them again and kind of make them feel young again. And it's kind of cool to see, and it kind of works both ways, like I said. And yeah, a lot of the older guys are still like mentoring these younger guys, and
Sure.
just being able to watch them, and it does make it a lot easier for me. And
Cool.
credit to them, they're great guys I learned from, and now are still doing it. The two that have been there forever, they were the 4 and 5 hitters this year in our
Mm,
playoff run,
Wow.
just year after year.
that's awesome.
So,
Have had you coached before this, like Legion or
never,
anything like that?
nothing.
Nothing.
And for getting into it, it was like a month and a half before the season started 2 years ago that the guy that was doing it left, go to another team, and he just kind of reached out to me like, "Would you do this?" And he had asked a couple other guys who had done it before, like Lee Hodges managed, I think 2014 to 19,
Okay.
but he's got kids, 8 to 10 year olds that are now into traveling baseball and whatnot. So he just doesn't have the time to
Yeah.
do everything. So he reached out to a few people who couldn't do it, and then just shot me a message like, "Hey, would you be willing to do this?" And I said, "I guess I'll give it a shot. Haven't done anything like it." And so I reached out to Lee and basically just asked, "Hey, can you kind of show me the ropes, help me
Hmm.
out?"
Yeah.
And he's been awesome with doing that. He's showed me everything he needed to. He's still helps me to this day. I mean, a lot of the older guys do. They've been around the block plenty of times. They know what it takes, what you need to do,
Hmm.
and they've helped out a lot. And yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So for you, can you tell a difference in yourself from year one manager Brandon to now this being about to be year three manager Brandon,
Mhm.
as far as like, and you've been a part of a lot of baseball and you've seen a lot of different things, but like being on the manager side of things, like you have
Yeah.
to be a lot more attentive now on that side of things, as you know. So like, what has been the biggest differences from your first year doing it to now going into your third year that you think, you've noticed at least?
I'd say a big one is, trying to play at the same time. Like when you're out in the outfield, it's like you have to think about the situation you're in. Like, okay, who's on base? Where do I go with the ball? All this like pre-pitch stuff. But at the same time, you're also thinking, okay, pitcher's getting in trouble. Who's next? Where say someone comes in to pitch from second base. Now, where do you move everyone? And then so that's been one thing that it's just doing it more and more, you become more comfortable. Another one is like some of the just the random rules that you're just playing. It's just like, well, you're playing baseball, and then you get into the subbing and
Yeah.
all. It's like you're playing high school slide, then you're doing MLB re-end and just different random rules. That's like, can I actually do this?
Right.
But again, that's credit to the older guys who like they've been around so many
Yeah.
times and like lead managers before. So it's like, and then now like just going through it all, I'm kind of learning it more and more. And that's probably the biggest thing, and just being more comfortable. I've the part that I struggled with a lot is, if you have like 16 guys, like not being able to start like so many guys. And
Hmm.
I struggle with that. It's like I want everyone to play. Like it's
Yeah.
hard to pick nine, especially when you have such good relationships with the guys and like you're constantly showing up working hard. It's like that part I struggled with quite a bit, and trying to get better at it. It's hard, and but one more year in, and hopefully it gets better again.
That's
Nice.
right. That's right. Well, I'd say
Yeah.
making a state appearance your second year managing a team is certainly ideal.
It it was the craziest run. You know, so the year before our playoffs, we went 0-2 in our league playoffs. Just and like going to state 16 straight times and kind of having that reputation. It's like, well, that's not really what, not to be arrogant or anything, but that's not what we do. Like we don't
Right.
go
Yep.
0-2 in our league
Absolutely.
playoffs. Like
Yep.
we're not even sniffing regions.
Hmm.
We go 0-2 the year before, then we start the next season 0-5. And
Ooh.
it's an ugly 0-5. We got 10 run twice, we got one hit once, gave up a go ahead home run the 11th
Hmm.
uh, at home, and that should have been 10 run another time. Like just kind of like coach on the hot seat a little bit, like seven straight pretty bad losses here. And he kind of turned it around, kind of had that up and down year, like ended up winning five straight after that, kind of getting back to 500, and kind of how our season went. And then last weekend of the year, we go to Wyndham on a Friday night. We're basically leading by one the whole game, bottom seven, we get walked off. Come back on Sunday, go to Morristown, kind of leading the whole game, end up getting walked off.
Oh my.
That's
So we end our season with two walk-offs, like,
Brutal loss.
and we're
Yeah.
yep, leading basically the whole way. In the Morristown game, we were the two seed supposed to host the game.
Oh,
So when we lost, we dropped to a three seed. Now we're on the road,
road.
and we go on to we probably have a harder playoff run in terms of who we're going to play. So now we're getting the other side's two seed, which is North Mankato, had a good team, beat them. We have to play with Sika, who gave it to us both times that year, and so the playoff run was actually insane. And we started out, came out and beat Mankato. Close game, kind of pulled away late. I think it ended up being like 10-4 or something, but it was close up until the seventh, right there. So, like I said, we play with Sika next, go there. They had a one hitter against us and then beat us either 10 or 11-0 at home.
Mm.
Just what weren't competitive games. Like it was bad.
Hmm.
So we have a extremely close game with them. I mean, well played both sides. They had a very good team. We kind of put some things together. It was basically a one-run game the whole time. And remember, we just got walked off the
Yep.
end last two games. Like we're used to losing these games, so we hold on. Bottom of the ninth, they got a couple runners on. It's kind of a, oh boy, here we go. But we hold on and get the win. So now we go to Waterville for the one seed. Like that was kind of, and that Wasika game was a big turning point for us because we
Mhm.
make it to regions. We got over that hump thing we're a little bit nervous about, kind of ending on a bad note. Like, how's this gonna go? So that was a huge game. Beat a team that gave it to us twice.
Mhm.
Go to Waterville now. We haven't beaten them since 2016,
yeah. I've never
and
beat him.
most of the guys on our team haven't beat them at this point. And we've had some close games, but more often than not, they've also kind of given it to us a little bit because back in the day, like early 2000s, Waterville had really good teams in the late 90s and whatnot. They kind of ran the league. Then the Pirates took over. through a lot of 2000s, early 2010s, and then 2016. Now Waterville's kind of taking the torch back.
Mm-hmm.
So we go into that game, and we kind of just have this like, baseball's a weird game. You never know.
Yep.
Cliche line. This is why you play the games. Like,
Right.
let's come here. We got nothing to lose. Like, just come have fun, and man, who knows? We put up 4 in the first inning right off the bat, so we're kind of feeling good. And credit to Waterville, great team. They battle back, of course. Like they're not just gonna accept losing, especially to us. They love beating us. So they battle back, and I think it was either top of the 8th or top of the ninth. We lead off with a triple, ball to right field. I think no one was playing right. Dove just missed it right off the end of his glove. We get a triple, score on a pass ball, take the lead 7-6, and same thing, hold on and win by 1.
Didn't get walked off that time.
Did not. It's 2 games that no, it's right there. 1-run games after being walked off the end of our season, and we hold on now in the playoffs. So we get the 1 seed. It even gets like more crazy because I think Lucas, you were at the next game and the 14 one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Jordan, then Jordan
in Jordan, yeah.
Yep.
So, which that Waterville game was huge because that puts Waterville and Jordan on the same side of the bracket, opposite of us. Which is
That's
huge.
large.
Yep. And then Belle Plains on that half too.
Yep.
It's just don't really want to be down. So then, the next game, playing LeSueur in Jordan, 14 innings. They came out, scored first. We battled back, like tie game basically the whole game. We're down going into the 9th. Bottom 9, we're down. We end up with 2 outs. Bottom 9, we're down 1. Well, fun run. Guess we'll play from the losers bracket. We rally off 3 straight singles. 2 outs, bottom 9. Nobody on. Just single, tied up. End up going to the 14th. Then their pitcher got a little wild, and I think we had a hit mixed in and ended up with the bases loaded and walk-off walked.
That's right.
Bottom 14.
Nice. Right. How many pitches did you use that game?
Only 2.
Oh, really?
No, I take that back. 3. 3 pitchers. Yeah. Yeah, and so then to go to state, we're supposed to play Gaylord in Jordan. Gets rained out.
Oh,
Gaylord is the alternate site.
Play Gaylord, yeah.
Oh.
Now we're playing Gaylord to go to state in Gaylord.
Yeah, I was back.
and you guys know Gaylord travels pretty. They support their team very well.
Oh yeah.
So I mean this is a true home game for them. Like this is and it's a Tuesday night. Like it's kind of a bit of a travel for us. It's not exactly close. It's not like it's a league game for us. We gotta go up there.
Yeah.
And we kind of got to them early and kind of just held on and punched our ticket to state. And what a run that was.
You scored quite a bit right away, didn't you? I remember correctly.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe 3 in the first or something like that. And
wow.
So that was from ending our season, getting walked out twice, to rattling out those 5 wins all in a row. Just like I said, that's why you play the games. Baseball's a weird game. Weird things have happened. Is kind of what we told ourselves. Like we know we have a good team, like good players. We just you never know.
Like the 07 Colorado Rockies.
That's right.
The 07 Rockies, right?
That's right. There we go. Come on.
And then we ran into Jordan or the 07 Red Sox.
07 Red Sox. Yeah. Got swept.
Yeah. That's a good team.
That's a very good team. That is kind of wild though. Like, I mean, you even said it yourself. The way in which your like regular season ended on just 2 like you talk about gut punches. I mean, it can't get much worse than that to end your season. Like if this is in April or like middle of the season, whatever, who cares? We have all these games ahead of us. But to end the season like that, I think it could, and this says a lot to you and your team. Like, I think it would have been very easy to just kind of like, well, this is our luck, and let's just, be all somber going into these playoff games now, but you
Right.
battled and you fought, and like you said before, but it's so true. That is why you play the game, because you don't know what can happen.
Right.
You don't know.
Yeah. And that's why that Wasika game was so big. That was like the turning point for us is,
Hmm.
we're these one run games we don't win. This team has beaten us bad twice,
Hmm.
haven't been very competitive games, and for us to hold on and that game gave us a lot of momentum. And like I said, we kind of just rolled that into Waterville and were able to score 4 right away and yeah, battle with them and pull out with the
Okay.
win.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I was in Washington this last weekend and hanging out with some friends there, and they were asking about like baseball and like Minnesota, and like they're asking about Townball, and like
Mhm.
it is kind of tough to like describe like anything past college if you're not playing pros. It's tough to describe what town ball is to someone that hasn't experienced it before, because they in
Yeah.
their mind they just picture it like it's a Sunday league, men's league, 40
Yeah.
plus,
Beer league.
Like
you know,
softball. Yeah.
yeah, softball,
Yeah.
like slow pitch softball league. But
Yeah.
obviously it's so much more than that. I guess, building off of that, if you, Brandon, were to like explain to someone who's never seen town ball in Minnesota or doesn't understand what it is, how would you describe it to someone to get them to come watch or to get them interested in it?
Um, yeah, that's interesting. It's a lot of things. You're getting like very competitive baseball first off, and I think that's the most important thing. Like a lot of people think of it and are like, beer league, bunch of old guys, and just kind of going out there and just whatever. But some of the guys, some of the pitchers that you see and some of the hitters, I mean, there's some legit guys out there that,
Yeah.
they're not throwing slow. Like they're
Yeah.
bringing it.
Hmm.
Um, but then at the same time, you're getting a lot of guys that not just get along, but are actually good friends.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you're very competitive between the lines, but then you get outside of the game and like you're sitting in the dugout after, and then you can just go have a couple beers with them and kind of
Hmm.
talk about the game, catch up. And I know I have a lot of friends just because, the 1360 was basically a breeding ground for Bethany players there for a little while. And
Hmm.
so I have a lot of friends, and I think that's kind of some of the most fun games that we have is like getting to play against these guys because it's like, well, I want to beat you on the field, but can't wait to have a beer after at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
getting to face these guys and people that like Nolan playing first base, Jordan Graham's playing shortstop behind me in college, and now
Yeah.
I'm facing them now, and like that's what's fun. And we had one moment where it was like Nolan was pitching, I was hitting, and Danny Nealon was catching.
Yeah.
In college, I was pitching, Danny catching, Nolan at first base. So getting to kind of run that back
That's cool.
that's kind of fun. But at the same time, it's like, I'm trying to get a hit here, and no
Hmm.
one's trying to strike me out. And that's kind of how I would sum it up. Very competitive baseball, but also you're having a good time doing it while competing against a lot of guys that have played in college, play in college, and have competed at high levels and are still trying to do it.
That's cool. That's pretty perfect. It's pretty
You also
perfect.
Mhm.
won't see many places where like a 16-year-old is on the same team as a 42-year-old,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, state tournament game, we had an 18-year-old second baseman and a 46-year-old third baseman.
Wow.
Wow.
Just yeah, and both great players. And it's just fun to watch that. You get some of everything.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. So talk to me a little bit about, so you mentioned Bethany, so this is a good segue into the
yeah.
Bethany portion of the podcast here. So talk to me a little bit kind of how that process went. What made you key in on Bethany to then where you decided to
Mm.
play college ball out? How did that process look like for you?
So I was basically choosing between two schools. I ended up going to SMSU as a freshman right out of high school. Went over there. Then I transferred to Bethany the following year. And I talked to Craig quite a bit at Bethany. And the reason I really chose SMSU was kind of like they had the degree I wanted at the time. Um, but then as like playing a baseball, like I didn't feel like I was necessarily getting what I wanted to get out of it. Like I kind of wanted to play the field, and that which I wasn't going to get over there. And I kind of went there like as I'm 6'2", 160 soaking wet, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of in a I want to see what kind of potential I can turn into. Like I wasn't going there to like, I should be playing here. It
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like what can I turn into? And it kind of got moved to like a 3/4 arm slot and was probably going to be a kind of a bullpen guy and not get to play the field. Whereas Craig kind of had told me like I would have an opportunity to be in the starting rotation, have a chance to compete for an outfield spot.
Mhm.
And that was kind of intriguing to me. So I switched then, and I knew Craig had his background and with where he's been pitching wise, his career there.
Unbelievable.
It's So I was
Unbelievable.
like, this would be kind of a good guy to kind of lead me into getting to where I want to get.
Mhm.
And so I transferred there, and I came in with a terrible attitude in terms of like I thought I was just gonna come in here and be great. Like I'm coming from Division 2. Like this will be
Mm-hmm.
no problem for me. And it's not like a lot of people have that kind of mindset. Like Division 3 is like it's just a step up from high school. And no, there's a lot of guys there that could and probably should be playing Division 2. And I got my welcome to Bethany moment right away against Lucas Hurd. He was in the box
Mm-hmm.
against me, and I've never seen someone do this. And I just talked to him actually about this last week, but he like I was so predictable pitching. He actually crow hopped a curveball against me, like Happy Gilmore did, like straight up, like did the whole like Happy Gilmore swing and hit a triple off the wall. Like
Wow.
Nice.
okay,
Yeah, Lucas
this,
is one heck of a player. He's a Sibley's
yep,
graduate.
yep, yeah, one of my better friends. But I was like, okay, I this reality check here. I'm not as special as I think. And I kind of had that lazy attitude. But yeah, that's how I kind of got to Bethany and ended up kind of turning it around. That first year was, actually very good for me because they took it out of the record books, but they used to have like the bad records in there.
Mm.
And I basically rewrote that runs, hits, given up in a season, career, game, walks, wild pitches.
That's
You're gonna
funny.
find my name all over that. It was bad. And I talked to Craig after the season. I was like, asked how it went, and it's like kind of
Wow.
a disappointment to a lot of people here. And credit for him, he never gave up on me. He's kind of someone that kind of saw like you work hard and you could be someone that turns it around. He gave me some examples of guys. Like one guy went 0-7 the next year. He was like 6-2. Like you could be this, and finally got through to me and started putting in a little bit of work and kind of turned things around a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of my Bethany story.
So, Brandon, April 23rd, 2016, what does that date mean to you?
April 23rd, 2016. Um, that might be a day where I threw a lot of pitches.
That might be a day where you threw a lot of pitches. Folks, I just want to give you a preface before we get into this here. I have seen a lot of baseball in my life. Is from all the way in Colorado, from Bethany and Minnesota town. I have seen a lot of baseball. And I think still to this day, that may have been Brandyn Olsen, one of, if not maybe the most impressive pitching performance that I've seen. That was 12 innings, right? 12 innings,
Yeah,
Minnesota Morris at Bethany, and you
yeah.
threw about what, 220 some pitches?
Oh my
There,
lord.
there's some unofficial counts on it, but nobody knows for sure. We'll just leave it at that.
How on
I'm
earth
paying
do
for
you
a lot.
throw
I'm paying for a
220
lot of it
pitches?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
yeah.
Yeah, that credit to like Coach Craig there too, because him and I we didn't go at it, but I was kind of a, well, I'm not coming out of this game kind of guy, and luckily he has the same kind of competitive attitude that I do.
Yeah.
So I was able to kind of like one more, one more, one more. But
Yeah.
he did tell me after if we went to a 13th, that was that was it. But luckily, I think Nolan actually had the walk off in that game to win it
Yep.
for us. And
Yep.
You're like
I had never been so relieved.
you're like Jack Morris in Game 7 of '91. I remember Tom Kelly came out to take him out, and he basically said no, and then he got out of
That
the inning unscathed.
it's kind of how our conversations basically went.
Yeah,
But
So,
that's a lot
so
of pitches.
So what was going through your mind? I mean, obviously you just said like, you're a competitor, like, hey, close game,
yeah,
I ain't coming out. But like, and as a pitcher, I mean, like in your head, you don't have like you're not saying like, okay, I've thrown now
mhm,
73 pitches and I'm through this inning unless someone tells you. But was
yeah.
there ever a point throughout that pitching performance where you like physically were like, okay, I don't know how many pitches I've thrown, but I've thrown a lot? Or were you just like kind of
Mhm.
riding an adrenaline high and you're like, I could have 500 pitches right now and I'm throwing another 500 before I come out?
That actually was kind of my entire mindset all through college. It really didn't matter pitch count because I'd gotten up there a few other times and I knew I did and been told I did. And I don't really think about that when I'm out there.
Mhm.
To me, as a starting pitcher, I was always like, if you don't want to be in the game, if you think you should be coming out, you should not be in there in the first place. And I never once had that attitude. And the only time I ever am like I should come out is if I can tell like I'm not doing very good. The team is gonna like I'm hurting the team being out here,
Mhm.
or if it hurts so bad where I can't get the ball to home plate, which again results in I'm hurting my team being out here.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know I can give team a chance, like I'll go as long as I can, do whatever it takes. So yeah, I don't really pay attention much to pitch counts. I had a couple of times where there was a pitch count on me, and I made sure I kind of knew who was doing it, so the numbers weren't always official. So
Hey, you got about
yeah,
100
no, it's
pitches. Like, you sure want to take about 20 off of that? Okay, sounds good. You're at
yeah.
80.
There's a game I think Nolan was doing my pitch count, and he told me, "Yeah, you're at like 90 right now in the seventh inning," and then I found out after the game is like you're at like 140. I was just saying that for you. I'm like, yeah, didn't pay attention anyway. Gotta go.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So as far as Bethany baseball moments go, is that probably like your number one? Like, I guess I'll give you two questions for this one. What is
Mhm.
your best Bethany personal baseball memory? And then what is your best team memory or the one that you'll always go back to?
Honestly, I'd say like it's kind of cliche is, your best memories aren't really on the field
Yeah.
necessarily, or like it's not a specific game. To me, like the couple of things I think of are like when Danny, who was my catcher for the 3 years I was there, would he'd come out for mound meetings with me if I start struggling, and he didn't have one thing to say actually baseball related. It was some kind of inappropriate or like dead dog joke where he comes out, tells me it, turns and walks away, and I'm sitting there in the batters in the box. I'm still trying to figure out the punchline because his thing is like just distract you, like get your mind
Yeah.
off because I'd get kind of fired up if things weren't going well, and that's kind of what he would do. And I'm sitting there like, what did he just say to me? And, oh, he's putting down a sign too. I guess we're playing right now, and
Okay. Yeah.
so that's kind of the stuff that I look back and like I kind of remember more than a specific game.
Sure.
Um, and team wise, it's kind of similar. It's like the back of the buses, just kind of having fun back there and bus rides, just stuff like that. Being in Arizona, we had the houses our first year. That was interesting, and from then on, it's kind of things like that. It's not really specific games that really come to mind, but
Sure.
That the one that you were talking about before, like Nolan getting that walk off. I think our senior year, Josh had a walk off, and like those are
That's right.
kind of cool. Just getting to celebrate with a team like that. Those are the kind of also like the ones that would stand out to me. But a lot of it's just that
Camaraderie.
little, yep, little stuff like little pipsqueak coming out and just telling me something that probably shouldn't tell me in the middle of the game, and then walking away like nothing happened. And then people in the dugout are sitting there like, why does he look so confused, or why is he laughing? It's like, only you guys knew.
Funny.
We're not talking baseball out here.
That's
It's
cool.
funny.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, those Arizona trips were a fun time.
yeah,
That was a lot of fun. I think I remember there was the first year that I went with you guys. It was my sophomore year. Um,
okay,
I just remember that one day, well, I think we were in the pool for like, I don't know, it felt like 6 straight hours, like playing football and throwing it around.
yeah,
I just remember the
hmm,
bottom of my feet got absolutely
yeah,
shredded from being in there so long. Yeah, but
yeah.
that was fun. Fun time though. I would 100% do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the guys and not the games. I know that sounds cliche, but
It's true.
the friendships that you make and the people that, because I mean everyone there shares the same passion as you. Like you're there because you love playing baseball,
Mhm.
and so does everyone else. Like you're not there because like we're not getting paid to be here.
Right.
Hmm.
Everyone's there because they truly love the game, and then you kind of just click with those kind of guys. And I think that's kind of the same thing with the Pirates. That's why I have such good relationships with everyone on the team is we're all passionate about the same thing. Like we're
Mhm.
not getting paid to come here. This isn't our job. Like we're
Yep.
here because we want to be here. We're here because we love baseball and we're all competitive and things like that just kind of just helps you click as a group and
Mhm.
that's where you create friends for life.
Working that 9 to 5 during the day and you're just dog tired,
Yep.
but you get re-energized pretty quick knowing you're going to be seeing the boys
Right.
in a few hours.
Yep. Exactly. Nothing better.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Mhm.
So talk to me a little bit about the team this upcoming year. I'm assuming you kind of mentioned bringing the same guys back. Are we
Mhm.
thinking similar run last year? Hopefully not as stressful on the heart as some of those games were at the end of the season, but
Yeah.
thinking we're in a good position.
I don't think we'll ever quite have a run quite like that again. I mean, that was, like I said, that was an insane run. I've never seen that kind of those kind of games back to back to back to back after the end we have. But we have the same goals every year. When I started managing, I basically texted everyone. I've basically two goals for our team, and one is I want us to have fun and I want to get to state. So same goals every year. I do everything I can to help, make those goals work out. And so far, like last year, probably the most fun team I've ever been a part of. And to go with that state run, and yeah, we're bringing basically everybody back
Nice.
between last year and this year. I think we have I want to say it's like 11 new or returning players
Okay.
for our team. So that's exciting.
Yep.
But it's a lot of the same guys. I Yeah, it's basically gonna be the same group, just with a couple more guys that had played a couple years ago or just coming back because I think they saw last year, we had a great time and just kind of want to be a part of just this kind of a group again and be
Yep.
back around baseball. And
Yeah.
then you add in a couple high school kids that hopefully, you get them around some of these veterans and that'll just help them continue to get better and kind of build your team for the future. And that's kind of what you got to do. You can't really focus on too much of like one specific year. You kind of got to think you want to get guys in here, get them to love the game, get them to love the team, and hopefully you got them for quite a few years.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if there's someone out there listening that lives within the mile radius of Blue Earth and wants to play for Brandyn Olsen on the Blue Earth Pirates, what is your, I guess, do you have certain coaching philosophies that you've developed yourself, or like, I guess to you, like what are things that, like, if we do these, dot 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 things, we're
Mhm.
going to have a good chance to win the ball game. I mean, I'm sure there's probably a lot of similar things you're going to hear across the table, but like, what are the
Right.
things that you stress on that you preach the most in being a manager?
But I think pitching and defense goes a long ways. That's what made the difference for our playoff run is we were able to pitch well, play good defense, and it sometimes can be boring. The high scoring games are a lot more fun usually, but pitching and defense to me wins games. And the other thing is kind of playing without pressure. It's getting out there. Like everyone knows, like you got to go out there and compete. Like no one's out there just kind of be out there. Like we're all when you step between the lines, we all know like we want to win. Everyone's there for that reason.
Mhm,
But you have to be able to have fun kind of doing it, kind of laugh at yourself every once in a while. So
mhm.
I kind of try to keep things a little bit lighter. If somebody makes an error, it's sometimes some errors can be kind of funny. You just kind of joke
Oh
with the
yeah.
guy like you don't have to like slam your glove and be super upset. Like it
Yeah.
happens. Like
Hmm.
like I said, we're not professionals. The fields aren't always perfect. You're
Yeah,
gonna get
right.
bad
That
hops,
honestly, yeah.
especially in our outfield, which can kind of be scary sometimes. But just trying to keep it light and
Well,
be competitive at the same time. But it's not if you don't win, it's not the end of the world. Like we started 0-5. We weren't sitting there like we got to figure this out. This is terrible. It's embarrassing. That
Hmm.
wasn't really our attitude. It was we don't have a good team. We just keep at it, keep on playing, and have fun and enjoy the game. Like at the end of the day, it's still baseball. Like
Yeah.
it's a game. It's meant to, you're supposed to have fun playing it, and that's kind of what we do. Just keep things light, and after every game, we're gonna do the same thing. Hang out after, chit chat, talk about old memories, talk about that game, have a few beers, and show up again for the next one.
I think that's my favorite part about town team. It's like a nice little balance. Like it's
Mhm.
serious, like it's competitive. People care about it. We have a decent amount of fans at a lot of games, right? But at the
Yep.
same time, it's like it's not like you're getting paid millions of dollars and you got a whole state or city looking at you to better
Right.
make the playoffs, this and that. And like I
Yep.
almost feel like high school there was more pressure than town ball too. I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
me. But town ball, it's like, you want to win and there's people there who want you to win, but at the same time, it's like,
Mhm.
all right, we're just here to have a good time and
Yeah.
enjoy the game we love. So
Right.
it's a
You
nice
can.
little
Yeah.
common ground.
Yeah. You can definitely do both, and to me, that's what made the biggest difference for us is kind of being able to find that fine line. With having that big state run of going every year, it was kind of like we expect to win. So then, as soon as we kind of stopped winning, vibes kind of got a little bit down, and it was kind of felt a lot of pressure. Like, okay, we got to figure this out. Like now, and like this is not acceptable. And then
Mm-hmm.
now we kind of have this attitude. It's like we're gonna have fun doing it, and like we said, baseball's a crazy game. Anything can happen. The reason you play the games, let's go out and enjoy it. And like we said, get after it at the same time. We're not out here just out here to, just be out here. Like we're here to
yeah.
kind of get after it too.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
That's cool. That's cool. What I mean, maybe this is maybe this is kind of gonna be an answer that you've already given us, but I'll ask it anyways, just in case. Do you have a moment in town ball, that really just like stuck out? Or I guess maybe this is a better way to phrase it. When was the moment to you in your town ball playing career when you're like, this is something like just so much different in a positive way, and like there are people who come to these games who've been coming for the last 40 years, who've maybe never
you
played
know,
baseball, but they just love watching it. Did you ever
mhm,
have that moment where you're like, wow, this is something bigger for a lot of other people than it is just for me too? Or like, you said your dad played too. Has it just kind of always been
yeah,
something that you've been able to appreciate because you had a front row seat for so many years?
yeah. Honestly, it probably the latter there. It's I've been very fortunate, and I try to say this all the time. Just coming into the team when I did, and
Hmm.
kind of being able to be around it when I was younger. There was, I mean, the core group that in the 2000s, 2010s, there was, like I said, just unbelievable core group that I just got to be a part, like just another piece of it. Like,
Mhm.
Yep.
so I kind of came in and was like, I didn't really appreciate it at the time, but yeah, I'm not sure there's a specific
Yeah.
thing like that, to be honest with you. I was just, I've
Yep.
always kind of been around it and always been kind of a part of the Pirates, and
Hmm.
I always wanted to be on the team ever since I was in the 2001 when I was 6 years old and whatnot. And
Hmm.
just very fortunate to kind of come into a group of guys that care as much as they did and kind of took care of the team in the way that they did to keep it going. So that's kind of my inspiration going forward is, I saw the way that they ran it, and now I want to keep this going for years and years and years. So you can kind of have like these, young kids that do come to the game that I want them to want to be Pirates when they're older.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I want them to see like baseball's awesome. This is fun. We can also get after it. I want to be on this team the same way that I grew up being like, I can't wait to be on the team. Like 2012 when I joined, I was stoked.
Sure.
First hit, was I couldn't have been happier. Same thing for start. I there's nothing better for me. I was like, kind of made it. This is where I wanted to be. This is kind of been my goal. This is the big leagues for me. Like,
Yeah.
every kid wants to grow up and be a big leaguer. And
This is
I
it.
was kind of like, I want to grow up and be on the Pirates. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of been pretty cool for me. And hopefully I can do the same for other younger kids in the next generation.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I think for me, and it's something I've said on the show before, come from Colorado where there isn't any town ball, and it is
Yeah.
pretty much just those Sunday league, beer leagues to this. I think it was when I had my like realization moment was probably this last year. So it'd been my third year on the team. Um, for Arlington, we had the friendly tournament, at our field that we have every year, and
Yeah.
and playing in that. And I was fortunate enough to be able to pitch the first game, and I had a good game. I played well.
Mhm.
The team played well behind me, and we were able to get the win. And
Was it
it
a three
was
hitter?
what's that?
What was it, three hitter? Four hitter?
I think Mitchell set the line at 4.5 for hits, and I got the under at got the under
Nice.
at four.
Hey.
Nice.
So it was a good game. I had a lot of fun with it. But then,
Mhm.
afterwards, like, changing and walking off the field, like having these group of like middle school kids on the fence, like, can we get
Mhm.
your autograph? Like, can we get like this third baseman's autograph or something?
Mhm.
And I'm just thinking like I'm probably devaluing the ball just putting my signature on it, but like I just think that was so cool. Like,
Uh,
having those kids, and they may not know who I was, and that's fine. I
That's
don't
funny.
care. But like
yeah.
knowing that, like, hey, these guys are playing baseball, like, and I want like they want my autograph.
Right.
It was just an unreal, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was one of the coolest feelings ever, and I think it just kind of added that more pride to it, for me at least. So that was a pretty unbelievable moment, for sure.
Yeah, I love hearing stories like that because again, it goes back to like you just kind of want to try to motivate like that next generation. Like that's
Yeah.
awesome to see. We had the same thing. We had like a youth kids night where I think they're like the little tots or something.
Hmm.
They came out and they all wanted like pass around a ball that everyone signs,
That's
and
cool.
that kind of stuff's awesome and good to
Running the
see.
bases.
Right. Yeah. We brought them all out for the national anthem before the game. Each player took two, three kids and they got to come out in the field with us, run out, be announced. And
That's
cool
cool.
deal. And yeah. Are
That's
you
cool.
guys doing that tournament again this year?
Hmm.
I believe
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we were in it one year and not a lot of the younger guys hadn't quite turned 21 yet. So we kind of had to be a little bit more careful with it, but
Sure.
we'll have to get back into that.
Yeah. Well, we'll chat with Coach Reiki and see if we can get you in. See if we can
I
get you in.
think it might have been last year he asked if we wanted to be in, but I think we had two games already on that weekend, so it didn't work out. But
Sure.
It
yeah, I'd
it
love to come
rains
back to
almost every single year for that weekend.
that.
It did not this
Or,
last year though.
of course.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, we're doing one tournament over in Pipestone this summer and heard good things about it, so we'll see.
That's cool. That's cool.
Mhm.
Well, I think we're kind of getting to the end of things here. Nick, are there is there anything that I missed that you think would be good to bring up, or any other town ball thoughts?
As far as town ball, I don't know if I have anything, but being that opening day is tomorrow, I just want to ask
Yeah,
Brandon, are you a Twins fan?
I am.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can't wait. What is the what's are you optimistic this year? What's your prediction for the Twins?
I've been kind of back and forth. I'm on that train of I really wish you could have got one of those starting pitchers added because I think that would
Mm-hmm.
have
A
been
one-year deal for
huge.
Montgomery, I would have taken that.
Right. But then it's like I wouldn't give up too much to trade for one, and
Yeah,
it seems like there's a lot of interesting players in kind of the farm system that I'd love
yeah,
to see some of them get up there and like the Brooks Lee guys like that. And I, I mean, they're in the AL Central, which definitely helps a lot.
yep,
So it's a little easier to be optimistic with that.
yeah,
And then, like we've been saying, anything can happen in the playoffs.
yeah,
I mean, who
yeah. I'm
loses?
looking forward to it for sure.
I mean, who loses that many straight playoff games in a row?
My God, I was at the game one against Toronto when they won, and
I
dude, I
recall.
that was that was one of the most enjoyable like sports Minnesota sports moments I've ever had. Like it was just like
Mhm.
I really care about the Twins, and to watch all those playoff losses in a row, I had no hope left. I thought we were going to
Yeah,
lose that game the entire time until like 2 outs, and then we won. I'm like, wow, that felt good. I'm like, did we just win the
yeah,
World Series or something?
right.
Yeah. So hopefully this year we can go a little further.
Yeah, I mean Houston. I mean, it feels like they're inevitable to get to the
They're
ALCS.
good.
So I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, never
They're
know.
like the Blue Earth Pirates of 04 to 17.
Soon to be the
Maybe we'll,
Arlington A's from
yeah,
2024 dash. We're not putting a number at the end of that. That's
love that.
that's cool. But awesome. Brandon, what about you? Any other, thoughts, town ball wise, baseball wise, things that you wanted to bring up, maybe we missed that would be worth mentioning or chatting about a little bit?
Yeah, I actually do have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
So I know you guys have done this podcast for quite a while now.
Mm-hmm.
What was like, what was kind of your motivation to get into town ball? And is that something you guys are gonna kind of keep doing? Because I've followed your account, and then all of a sudden Nolan popped up as you're having him on. I'm like, let's go. And then a couple of days later, you reach out to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys, I think there's something coming on here, and I'm just kind of
Yeah.
curious, kind of where you guys go from here with this topic.
Yeah, it's a good question. We've been doing it for a few years. We kind of started off with doing just professional sports in general.
Yeah. The podcast in
Um,
general, we started in like 2020, I think.
2020. So it was
Okay.
just um yeah, just professional sports in general, and which is I mean, it was a good idea at the time, and I think
Yeah.
we're not going to just completely abandon that. Like we're still going to incorporate that into the
Right.
shows and stuff, but I think we kind of got to a point to where it was like, okay, we're not getting a whole lot of views, which me, like, I was doing it because
Mhm.
I like talking about sports. I could have one
Yeah.
person or 5,000 people
Right.
watching. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it definitely was like, okay, we're putting out like 2.5, 3 hour shows talking about some pretty good stuff with
Yeah.
pro sports and not getting the returns. But then I don't know where the kind of moment came. I think like I don't know, one of us just must have brought up like, maybe
I think it
we
was your idea.
was it? I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah.
Can't remember. Yeah, like I think it's something we kind of spitballed last summer a little bit. Like, yeah, we should get guys on the show from town ball teams and run with it. And then yeah, had a couple Arlington guys right away, and then had Mitchell from Gaylord, and then had Reiki on
Okay.
for Arlington, and you and Nolan and, trying the other
Mhm.
guys. So it's been a lot of fun. I think 100% that's something that like might just be what we do. We might just be like a
Mhm.
town ball podcast. And
Yeah.
I would certainly love to grow it as much as we can.
Mhm.
Would be unbelievable for sure. And I think there's a pretty large audience out there for people that love listening to town ball too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. I talked to a few people, like especially when we saw Nolan, just me being as good friends with him as I am, and I talked to a bunch of people that are like, "Well, I'm really interested to see what he has to say." And if anyone hasn't checked that out, that's listening to this one, I mean, go do it. I thought it was an awesome interview, and
Thank you.
hopefully you can get a bunch more here. And I'd love to see you guys keep this going.
Yeah.
And
Well, appreciate it, and we definitely plan on it. I think the there hasn't been a town ball season since we've done this. Like we started this a
right.
couple months ago, so now there's probably a lot of stuff we can do during the season. We hope to possibly even do a podcast like during our tournament, which would be kind of cool if we could pull
Oh,
that off. But
that would be sweet.
yeah, I'd like to get into it. Like there's all sorts of places you can just go listen to John Boy or Pat McAfee if you want to listen
Right.
about MLB or NFL or whatever, but you can't really go anywhere else for town ball. So
Right.
I think a lot of us take a lot of pride in it. So I think
Hmm.
I'm hoping if we consistently do this, eventually more and more people will come. And everybody who's been on, you and Nolan and Mitch, you all, we learn a lot from everybody, and everybody's experience is different, and it's just fun to talk about. And
Hmm.
especially like you 1360 guys and us in the RVL, it's fun to, we
Right.
play against each other every year, a lot of times in the
Yeah.
playoffs, but it's nice to just chat it up sometimes too.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think you guys have something pretty cool here. I've always wondered if there was, or if somebody would do kind of a town ball podcast. And even if there is up north, which I think there might be, it's like that. I don't really care as much. Like I don't know
Big
anyone,
league. Yeah.
to be honest. But then you see some like teams, like you said, like Gaylord and then Nolan. And it's like, well, now I'm interested. Like
Yeah.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, Brandon. Appreciate the kind words with it. We'd certainly love to grow it, and it's going to be having many great guests, much like yourself,
Hmm.
that are willing to
Yeah.
come on and chat about their experiences to do it for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, if you're ever looking for someone, just feel free to reach out. I love talking baseball, especially town ball. This is like I was saying, it is a passion. I know it is for you guys. You wouldn't be playing if it wasn't. And
Mhm.
it's always fun just to talk about things that you're passionate about, especially baseball. It's just
Yep.
a good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, I think we've reached the end of this show. So thank you so much for sticking along for the ride. Checking it out. Brandon was fantastic. So we certainly appreciate having you on.
Thank you,
It was a
Brandon.
great talk, like I said before. So we're very grateful that you took the time out of your life to join us. So yeah, very appreciative of that for sure. Um,
Yeah, of course. Anytime, like I said.
absolutely.
You got any like Twitter handles or Blue or Twitter or anything you want to put out there for anybody who wants to follow?
I think my Twitter is just Brandon Olsen 8, maybe. I'm
Yeah.
honestly not even sure.
I did get a
Yeah,
follow from the official Blue Earth Pirates Twitter
yeah,
page the other day,
Nice.
so I will have to shout
Nice.
them out. Shout them out.
yeah. Yeah, we appreciate it. I'm not a very big social media person. I'm just kind of I'm there just to
Yeah.
kind of see who won what game and whatnot, and that's about
Honestly,
it.
all I've
So,
ever used Twitter for is basically for town ball.
Yeah,
yep,
Yeah.
basically the same.
that's
Hmm.
cool. That's cool.
Yep.
Well, folks, certainly follow along. Brandon, follow along how the Blue Earth Pirates do this year. And again, if you're a listener and you live in Minnesota, and I will say it every time on this show, I almost am 100% positive that wherever you live, there is a town ball baseball team in the town that you're in or somewhere very close that's not a long drive away to go and watch them play. And it's a great time. So I certainly just want to plug that out there. But, anyways, folks, as for myself, Nick Duckett, and Brandyn Olsen, Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we are out.